Wake up. Wake up.
Where am I? Where's Reznov?
You will answer our questions. Do you understand?
Call of Duty Black Ops addition to Xbox One's list of backwards compatible games has, unsurprisingly, reignited a lot of new interest in the 2010 game. You have to admit, it's pretty funny that the most popular game on Xbox One right now is a 6-year-old game from 2010. Now, to understand just how popular it is, just head online and take a look at the player count. Currently, at the time of making this video, there are 43,000 people online. Now, that number has peaked at around 90,000 during more suitable North American times, but it gives you an idea of just how reinvigorated gamers are at the thought of returning to older and better Call of Duty games. Shockingly, and kind of hilariously, a 6-year-old game is suddenly one of the most in-demand games on Xbox One. Now, you could argue that this says more about the Xbox One's games library, which is something I don't subscribe to, than it does about Call of Duty. But irrespective of the platform, I'm sure we can all agree that gamers are going to go back and replay good multiplayer games so long as the population is there and the community is engaged. The sudden rebirth of Black Ops on Xbox One demonstrates that you just can't keep a good game down, no matter how many times you hit that dislike button.
What happened?
We all got killed.
There's no use lying.
Okay, so Activision hasn't done right by gamers recently over the past few weeks, but they have pleased many a Call of Duty fan, including myself, by making 2010's Black Ops backwards compatible, almost a year after it was first announced as a flagship title of the feature. So now that Black Ops is here and playable on Xbox One, I have to highly recommend that anyone that hasn't played it, give it a chance and jump in. That's right, after the release of Uncharted 4 and Doom and Homefront, The Revolution, if that's your thing, I want you to drop those games and go back to a game from 2010. There's a few reasons why. So it's been almost 3 years since we last got a traditional boots on the ground Call of Duty game. But, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to remember 2013's Ghosts. Let's just forget that game ever happened. So, Black Ops 3, and to a lesser extent Advanced Warfare, they have plenty going for them. Don't get me wrong, and I've had a lot of fun with both, but I just feel that the chain movement system that is incorporated in more recent entries in Call of Duty, it's just becoming tiresome, and you know, there's plenty of hostility and frustration. You just need to go look at the Infinite Warfare's reveal trailer, which I'm sure you've heard about, to see just how sick people are of that. So with Black Ops, it's kind of refreshing to be able to go back to a grounded Call of Duty game. And I'm actually really interested to see whether or not it feels like a step back from that sort of jetpack boosting, wall jumping shenanigans of recent entries. But honestly, in my experience, that grounded gameplay I think brings a far more balanced multiplayer experience. In both the campaign and in the multiplayer, I feel that the environmental level design just keeps the action close, explosive and fast, and my problem with more recent Call of Duty games is that they've kind of gone down that Michael Bay route where they've really opened up, they've jumped the shark, and they've just gone into totally unbelievable, ridiculous territory. Black Ops, on the other hand, it kind of keeps the action explosive enough without going overboard. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still pretty crazy, and some of the stuff that happens is, I mean, it's comical how outrageous it is, but you've got these fantastic sound effects, the visuals are a little bit dated, but they're still pretty solid. They really complement just this constant barrage of explosive firefights, and it's great pacing, great story, great characters, and it's just something that I really haven't experienced in a Call of Duty game over the past few years. Okay, so let's stay on the campaign trail here, and this is obviously up for debate, but in my opinion, Black Ops has one of the Call of Duty series' best campaigns ever. Now, there's no denying that Black Ops was the most ambitious Call of Duty up to that point, and I know what you're saying, COD 4 is the most ambitious COD ever, but, you know, when you really think about it, Call of Duty 4 and its sequel in Modern Warfare 2, they were just giving us what we wanted, and that was a Modern Warfare setting. But Treyarch's Black Ops, that kind of took us to eras that were rarely touched upon in games up to that point. And that campaign, it's got mystery, it's got intrigue, fantastic pacing, and it weaves in and out of different conflicts, which a Call of Duty game really hadn't done before. Black Ops also kind of takes some older Call of Duty features to new heights. Now, zombies was introduced in World at War, and it's Creation is actually somewhat an act of luck. As the story goes, there were a number of Treyarch employees that were working on a zombies mode in their spare time, and when the higher-ups at the studio saw the work that had been put into it, they decided to include it in the final game. Now, Zombies in Black Ops, with that, we truly saw the beginning of what would be a very important pillar of the Call of Duty franchise for years to come. There's fantastic DLC, great map design, tense levels, fantastic weapons, and if you're looking for a great cooperative multiplayer experience, this game is right up there even though it's 6 years old. It really helped set the tone for the mode for a number of years, and if you really want to see where it all began for Zombies, there is no better place to start than with Black Ops. What's really great about Black Ops for me is that it does a fine job of making main character Alex Mason actually likeable and engaging. This is a campaign that takes you across Russia, Cuba, Vietnam, all during the Cold War. And even though that was not that revolutionary because, Call of Duty games tend to move across the globe throughout their campaigns, Black Ops' confidence to tell a story across eras was what made it so impressive. And then in multiplayer, you have major changes. You've got COD points, you've got the improved zombies mode, and you've got arguably the most diverse range of weaponry across the entire Call of Duty franchise. There's also contracts. Now, they've been reintroduced in Black Ops 3, but the first Black Ops was really the trailblazer here. The idea that you had to pay to participate in a challenge, that added an element of risk and reward that we had not seen in a Call of Duty game yet. That idea that you could risk 250 COD points only to get 4,000 back and 4,000 XP if you completed the contract, that was a massive dilemma for me. And to put that challenge right to the community to entrust their own skill set, that's a pretty big risk for a Call of Duty game to take.
Got him!
And then there are the kill streaks. Now, they're goofy, but in a really brutal way. I mean, those dogs, they're frustrating, but you've got to give it to them. They're pretty hilarious. Now, Black Ops just seems to, in my opinion, have the last good list of kill streaks before the series went a little overboard in Modern Warfare 2. Not completely overboard, but a little overboard. But then it went completely balls to the wall crazy in Advanced Warfare. Contextually relevant kill streaks. That's what made Black Ops kill streaks so good. They gave them that really kind of memorable feel. And the amount of kills attached to each kill streak before you could unlock them, they were actually balanced enough so that they were stretched out throughout the duration of a match. And I don't think a Call of Duty game's been able to balance it out like that since Black Ops. And we can't forget Nuketown. Oh, Nuketown. Now, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely hated Nuketown. The worst Call of Duty map for me is the one with large straight lines, kind of like a state in Modern Warfare 2, or the one that is so small and tight that all action is centralized in an orgy of grenade throwing and random firing. Now, it was a fun map, sure, but it required little in the way of strategy, and it really depended on which team had more momentum from the start. Once a team took control, it was hard to kind of wrestle it back, and I totally understand that this was the philosophy behind the map's design. It just didn't make it all that enjoyable for me. Nonetheless, I have looked forward to returning to it because it was so heavily favoured by the community, and as such I tend to appreciate it for that reason alone. Comparatively, next to other iterations of Nuketown, the Black Ops version is undoubtedly the best. Black Ops 2 just turned it into a major noob fest, and that made it utterly impossible to play and enjoy. Now, if you're going to return to Black Ops for one reason and one reason only, then do it because it's actually the perfect way to prepare for Modern Warfare Remastered. Black Ops also has a really great combat training mode, which is actually a fantastic offline area where you can kind of test your skills against the AI. Hitting the ground and relying on sprint, walk and slide, I think that might be tough for people who have spent considerable time with Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare, so if you do kind of intend on going back to the big re-release in Modern Warfare Remastered, and you damn well better, then Black Ops is actually the perfect way to ready your skills and get used to that more grounded, boots on the ground style. If the success of Black Ops on Xbox One has taught Activision anything, it's that people still want to be part of the Call of Duty franchise. just perhaps not in the way the publisher wants them to be. Activision is kind of in this weird situation now where it needs to decide if forcing people to reluctantly buy their product is better than them not buying it at all. Of course, so long as they're buying it, nothing else matters, but I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit bitter about having to pay $160 just to play Modern Warfare Remastered when I have minimal interest in Infinite Warfare. And at the same time, while the original trilogy is being re-released without backwards compatibility, and with servers that are overrun by hacking vermin. When I picked up Black Ops pre-owned for $20, suddenly I have this new interest in Call of Duty. And then when I heard that they were re-releasing the Modern Warfare trilogy in a single pack, I thought, awesome, amazing, I can go back to my favourite Call of Duties. But then, of course, the harsh reality kicked in that they weren't actually going to be backwards compatible, and that Modern Warfare Remastered had already set me back $160, because that's kind of what you need to pay in Australia to get yourself a copy of the game. Now, if Activision is paying attention here, it would actually try to find a way to better serve the audience that is rushing back to Black Ops, because Black Ops is actually a fantastic game, and there's a reason why people are going back to it. Instead, we're kind of being forced down this path of bitterness, as a means to play exciting new remastered versions of classic games that probably won't reignite passion for Call of Duty anyway, and it certainly won't make Infinite Warfare look any more appealing. So, at the end of it all, I highly recommend you go back to Black Ops. If anything, just for an insight into just how great Call of Duty used to be, and how it once used to know how to actually tell a really, really great story.
You're dead. We killed you.
No. You killed a double. You think we didn't know of your plan?
We always know.
Do with him what you wish, General. He's my gift to you, in honor of our new relationship. Just make sure that he suffers.
He will know suffering beyond his darkest fears. I have plans for you, American.